The views and opinions expressed in Media Litter Sandwich do not reflect on the views of the network, station, studio, website, sponsors, guests, hosts themselves, anyone or anything else associated or even not associated with this podcast. Maybe not even the person that said them. In other words, do your own research and do not sue anyone over what is said on this show.
Could it be a place of wonder? Let's face it, chances of it going well, they're not very high. Welcome to Media Litter Sandwich, where I sit around with a microphone and I have other people sitting around with a microphone and we make a thing called a podcast, and sometimes other people listen to it. And if you want to be the first person listening to it, we're on dvradio.net. As far as I know, we're still every Tuesday, but if we're not, just check out dvradio.net and check out their schedule. That's the first run, and then I'm on the podcast version the following Monday, or at least the following week. But if you go to the DV radio version, although it's only audio, I'm in the chat room. And if you do watch the podcast version, you can watch the video version or the audio version on the go on whatever app you listen to, whether it be Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, Mixcloud, which is actually a DJ app. I don't know how I'm on there.
This is kind of like being a DJ. I mean, you got the mics, you got the guests.
Yeah, we got proper mic movement, although this microphone keeps cutting out on me. I guess we'll find out in post. And with me today, well, let me finish my DV Radio rant. dvradio.net. Check out their schedule. Awesome shows. And if you want to support them, they have a Patreon. I think I might have a Patreon. I know I'm recording this while on hiatus. I'm trying to start a Patreon at some point or something of that sort. Go to Toaden.com or MediaLitterSandwich.com if you would like to participate. Or you could always just share the videos or the podcast. That helps the most. Or you can make fun of me in one of my groups, which is Media Litter Sandwich group or page. Or I forgot to hit record support group because I saw a need, and who doesn't need a support group for forgetting to hit record?
That's the truth.
With me is, you know what? We've hung out so many times. It's
been a while.
I do consider you a friend.
Likewise.
So my friend BluRaven, who writes comics. Tell me what you do, BluRaven, besides fly. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be making fun of his name. Someone's going to be offended.
Never have to worry about that. I've born and raised with the name BluRaven. Believe me, I've heard it all. But no.
Why's it got to be blue? Why can't it be yellow? Why can't it be?
The worst is people, like, they're listening will get lazy, and I'll be like, oh, hi, my name's BluRaven, and they'll be like, oh, Blu-ray? Like, no, I'm not a high-definition DVD player. I can assure you of that. And obviously, I'm older than the technology, right. So it's not like I was named after.
Okay. I got more questions on that, but go ahead and intro yourself, because now I got a few questions.
Well, I'm BluRaven C. Houvener. I always put the C in there to differentiate myself from all the other BluRaven Houveners out there.
Which I'm sure there's quite a bit.
Yes, of course. I've been, I am a writer and illustrator. I've been working on my webcomic, It's Just Another Day, for the last 8 years, actually. And as of this past June, it came to a close.
Just gonna move this because
was it blocking my face? Okay.
I want people to see your beautiful face.
Oh, thank you.
That way I'm not the only one drooling.
You flatter me, thank you. But yeah, this has been a busy year on the comic end because I finished my webcomic and I have started the daunting task of getting my work into print now. What you see in front of you is It's Just Another Day, issue 1. And it's not just a reprint of what was online. There's all new art, the story's more in depth, and I'm going through, as it stands, it's going to be a 12-issue run. And at this point, I plan on having issue 2 done by the end of this month, and I probably will be debuting it at Confusion 2020, if all goes well.
Usually when people take a webcomic and they turn to print, they do add extra things. What exactly did you add? Is it like a number of pages, or did you like rescript it?
All everything you just mentioned, actually. The
Wow,
original,
I wish I would have thought of this when I did it the first time. Well, now I'm re-editing it.
exactly. Well, since I was working on it for 8 years, there was so much trial and error in it. So initially when I started it, I didn't know exactly how I was going to format it, where I was going to go with it, that kind of thing. So the original chapter 1 was only 8 pages long. Now it's 32 pages long. So there's a big jump in what the content is.
Yeah, you created a whole world,
Yep.
and so now you have something to introduce people to the world versus just introducing them to the characters of that time.
Absolutely.
Although there's still nothing wrong with that. Is the webcomic still available?
Yes, it is.
So yeah. It's fun when you can see that, where you go read the original stuff and then see what it happened. Like you could do that. Well, I wish you could do that with One Punch Man, because obviously it's an anime show.
Yep.
It's in Shonen. Someone's gonna yell at me
One
if I
of-
get
one
it
of the
wrong.
shonens,
One
yeah.
of the shonen things, and then of course it started as a webcomic, which with different, although it's the same storyline. But different artists.
Yep.
So you can see the difference between those three if you read or spoke the language.
Which sadly I do not. And it's a shame too, because I do have a bunch of manga at home that's in the original Japanese. I'm like, I have no idea what's going on.
And of course, I like anime because last week when my guest didn't show up, I ranted
Ooh.
about anime and gigantic robots, because an anime isn't truly good till you put a gigantic robot in it.
That is true. It's kind of the spice of life when it comes to anime.
Yeah, look at Hello Kitty. They've been
Oh,
around
yeah.
for 45 years, and now they're doing a collab with Gundam. So I mean, you have to put a gigantic robot in it. Of course, I think it was just a couple clips that they had fun.
Right.
Celebrating the 40th anniversary of Gundam and the 45th anniversary of Hello Kitty.
Well, Panda Z was like that also. That was another anime where they
Okay.
had like really cutesy characters and stuff like that. But then it would just be a random space battle and like a giant panda robot. And like, all right, I can get behind this.
They're hitting all the marks.
Yes.
They gotta make sure it's good. So there are gigantic robots in your comic, or no?
It's
There better be.
It's funny because in the original webcomic run, I did do a manga chapter, and I don't plan on ditching that at all because it's such a fun segue, because
Right.
It's Just Another Day is a slice of life tale and stuff like that. Then all of a sudden there's giant robots and, giant monsters and everything, and you're like, wait a minute, what's going on? And and there's just such a good reason why it's in there. I don't want to spoil it for the people who haven't read it yet, but...
Okay, so you said it's a slice of life type comic. What does that mean?
It deals with day-to-day life events, coming of age kind of topics. Very very grounded in reality. But the thing is, Jake, who is my pseudo self-insert, he hasn't led really a normal life, all of his surroundings, his parents, like nothing is average. So his experience.
Wait, it has an average name.
Right.
So that's something. But you and Jake do look very similar.
Yes. Well, and it's funny because that you mentioned the name thing, because while Jake has a normal name, his friends, there's Seeker, Hoedown, Bank, Captain.
You can't have put those as their like birth names.
It is, which is funny because in the comic I almost did a reverse, like in real life, where Jake has the normal name, everyone else has odd names.
So do we ever? Of course, no spoilers.
Right.
I don't really care if you do spoils, but you don't want to do spoils, so I
Not yet, no.
respect that. So do we? Just you don't have to answer, but I do want to know: do we ever meet Hoedown's parents and ask them about the name? Well, it's where they were conceived. That's got
Interesting. I haven't explored that yet, but
Okay.
that's in the future, which will probably be like book 9, 10 or so. So
Okay.
still got a little ways.
So when they invent time travel and they go see why he's called Hoedown.
Yeah.
I didn't need to see that hay over there or the square dance scene. That was terrible. That was terrible, BluRaven. I really. Hey, BluRaven, what would your name be if HD DVDs took off instead?
jeez.
I'm sorry. So you know, there's a character of you in there.
Yep.
How about anyone else?
Well, yeah. Well, there's which is funny because we've got Saint Nick right there, which is my deceased father, Nicodemus, Saint Nick of Detroit, and each chapter of It's Just Another Day is marked by a Nicodemus song. So issue 1 is Scream, issue 2 is going to be Aquarium, and so on. And
Are these real songs or
Yep.
songs? Okay.
Yep, they're real songs, and that's
So these are real songs by your dad?
Yep. Yep,
Oh, wow.
and my uncle takes part in a lot of them as well.
Okay.
So Nicodemus and Matches, look them up. And I'm also in the process of getting together an official It's Just Another Day soundtrack because I have like all of the tracks laid out. Just need to get
And
them.
permission.
Well, Dad left all that stuff to me, so I just yeah.
See, Dad, I'm using music for something.
You're right. So that's
That's
something
a
in the
really cool
works.
way to honor it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he would be very happy with it.
So sorry, didn't mean to cut you. Please.
No, you're good.
So who else is character down there?
Let's see. My ma is featured as a regular character. And they're the only 3 who are like 100% like who they are in real life. Other characters, kind of like amalgamations of people I've known throughout my life and stuff like that. So it's not like a 100% autobiographical, but everything that happens to Jake is. It's just like the people around him where, the stories are, slightly different. It's not like what it is in real life.
Yeah, because I was curious. It's like, okay, this is me. People go, okay, where am I in this story?
Right.
I know I'm important to you,
Which
Blue.
I get that a lot too.
It's like, no, I don't want to be sued by you. I would never
Exactly.
do that.
That's what they say till.
That's what they say until you print till you do a comic version of how they lost their virginity. I never said that.
It's like hearing yourself recorded. Like, wait a minute, I don't really sound like that. It's one of those kind of things.
Yeah. So how does your mom feel about it?
Oh, she loves it.
Okay.
She's a big fan of the comic.
So you don't make inappropriate jokes about her,
No, no.
like saying she's on psychedelic drugs. Sorry, Mom.
You've never met my folks. But
That's true.
yeah, no. She loves the comic and she actually looks really badass in it. It's I don't know.
They're fine.
Okay. Because she's kind of that character who sort of like hangs back and gives sage advice and stuff like that. But when it's time to spring into action, she springs into action.
Okay. Because I know your comic is sort of based on your life, but
Yep.
you throw sci-fi stuff in
Right.
there. You have fun with it.
Oh, absolutely.
Either that or you're on psychedelic drugs.
No, unfortunately not.
I love how you had to say unfortunately.
Right.
So how you ran the webcomic for 8 years.
Yep.
And now it's print.
Yep.
So how do you know the webcomic had a following to warrant a print, or are you just doing it for yourself and see what happens?
A little from column A, a little from column B. Because, thanks to social media, I was there were people who would consistently either comment or hit me up, asking about this page or if I took a hiatus when it was going to come back and stuff like that. So I know there was a following out there, and then with the print, of course, that's for the people who did follow the webcomic, but also I'm doing it for myself as well to really get this story out there.
And you get a new audience.
Exactly.
And you have a new reason to go to conventions.
You beat me to it because I was gonna say it's like breathes new life into going into the convention scene with it. Because like as prominent as the internet is nowadays, nothing beats having a physical copy to hand somebody.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And like you go to the conventions, you talk on panels, but you never. Correct me if I'm wrong. You never had your own booth.
No, not until this past July. I tabled for the first time at Redford Comic Con.
I missed it. You normally wait. This is new reference. This isn't real. This isn't.
Yeah, it's a new yeah. Because from my understanding, there was a Redford Comic Con before,
and
but
then
this is a new iteration of it.
Yeah. No, it's not reiteration because it's a different organizer.
Okay.
Although I do believe the old organizer did have a table because he does almost every con.
Okay.
Yeah, John Carlisle had like his own line of cons. He did.
Okay.
So he did like he had like 14, 15 cons a year.
Wow.
So he would do a Redford one too.
Nice.
But technically, I don't think you could own the name Comic-Con anymore anyway. So
because which is so ridiculous. How can you copyright 2 words? You know, it's like comic
and
convention.
It was in a California court. That's why.
Oh.
Yeah. I feel like I know if it was anywhere else, like that's too generic because con is short for convention.
Exactly.
And there's so many. And if you're in California, they go, well, there's only one Comic-Con, and that's San Diego. Because that's the big one that popularized it based on the Something Comic Fair, which started off in Detroit.
Right.
Therefore, Detroit owns all your Comic-Cons. Booyah.
Which I wonder if legally you could get away with just calling it a comic convention.
You
now.
can.
Oh, you can. Okay, you just can't say Comic-Con.
Right.
Interesting.
Because it used to be people would argue over, well, this one has a dash, this one doesn't have a dash. This is, and
because you see it spelled so many different ways, and there's so many different variations.
So now everyone just says convention or it's pop fair.
Yeah, because I think the Monroe did that, didn't they?
Yeah.
It was Monroe Comic Con, but now it's Monroe Pop Fest.
Be honest, the majority of comic conventions I've been to were not conventions; they were trade shows.
Yeah, a good chunk of them are.
Yeah, and there's also some conventions or some places that call themselves conventions, which are really seminars.
Yeah.
Or summits or whatever freaking word. I don't know.
Yeah, which I feel like Motor City almost falls into that kind of gray area of trade show and seminar almost because it's
they have
so
panels,
big.
but it's not a lot.
Yeah, which I mean, I thought it was awesome because I did. I went to Motor City one year and I got to see Jason and David Frank, Green Ranger, White Ranger, Black Ranger, speak, which was amazing because, childhood idol and everything. But other than that, it's a beautiful convention. Don't get me wrong, not bashing it in the least, but,
I'll bash it. I'll bash it.
It was just a giant vendor room.
When you buy out the hotel to charge more money for parking, I'll bash it. I'll totally bash you. When you raise your fees for your vendors the night before, yes, I'm gonna bash you.
Yeah, I can't blame me on that. Wow, I didn't know about those things.
Sorry, I spent a lot of time hanging out with vendors, and vendors still go because they make money there.
Right, exactly. I've heard it's very lucrative for the vendors. So, I mean, in a way, that's why I can't almost knock it, because it gives, especially the indie artists and stuff like that, a place to shine. Well, we were talking about this earlier prior to the show, but it feels like so many conventions are going through, I guess a good way to word it, growing pains right now because,
it's oversaturated.
Yeah, it's oversaturated. The day and age we're in, we've all got a phone in our pockets. Everyone likes video games. Marvel movies are big. So people who a decade or more ago would not have been, into any sort of geek culture. Now it's everywhere. So you've got these conventions that, half the time it says Comic-Con, but it's not even remotely focused on comics. It's,
and you got conventions, you got so many. You got in the same weekend as the Comic-Con, you'll have an anime one down the street, you'll have a comic one down the street, you'll have a random volunteer sci-fi thing going on, and all these in the same area. And then one person go like, I go to Comic-Con. Yeah, which one?
Right.
There's only one. No, there's over 30 within a 50-mile radius. Which one? And if you say you don't have enough money to go to any of them, bull, because most of them are under $10. If you could spend,
that's true.
If you could spend $120 for a 3-day pass for a convention, you could spend $5 for one. Now, I totally understand if you don't want to go to that one, that's completely fine. But don't tell me you're not going to go because you're broke.
Yeah,
and that's always been one of my things with people like, oh, we're huge con goers, and you go to 2 cons a year. I used to go to 26 to 30 events a year. Oof. Of course, a lot of that was on a press pass.
Right.
But if they're under $5, I usually pay or even donate that money.
Yeah.
Especially if I'm bringing a PA with me and they're only giving me, I'm like, look, I told you I was only going to come myself. I brought someone else with me. Here's the money. Or I have my girlfriend with me. She is not helping me at all. I am paying for her ticket.
Yeah.
Which I do because, because I don't like to I don't want to be like, oh, I'm bringing all my friends. No, I'm not. I do not want to. That's an easy way to ruin your name.
Absolutely. Yeah, because my girlfriend and some of our friends will usually come with me to conventions, but they were always paying full price for their ticket and stuff like that. And in most instances, I get it on either free or some sort of discount because I'm doing panels or vending or something like that.
Yeah. Then there was the one one convention which I do believe I mentioned in another episode, but I didn't say their name because
lips are sealed. Because you and I worked at a lot of the same conventions. So.
Yeah, one where I used to get press passes and then I volunteered and I had to pay to go. So I paid to go to a convention. I was working and doing video and panels and all this stuff. But when I dropped volunteering, I was able to go for free again. Explain that one to me.
I think I know which one you're talking about, and that wasn't a good year for a lot of reasons.
1 year, that's the way it's been. I don't know if they still have the same rules, but that's the way it was found. That's for many years. In fact, that's why they have trouble keeping staff. They can keep volunteers,
right?
Because volunteers could go for free if they work enough hours, but staff has to pay.
Yeah,
I've talked to a lot of people that did staff and like, this is stupid.
Yeah, and I have nothing against the convention. It's one of my usual conventions, but like I step back from that stuff. It's like I'll do panels all day long, but I want no part of the setup just for
Yeah, I step back from a lot of that. There's conventions where I won't even do panels. So, and I talked about that in another one.
Yeah,
because and I told you about. Okay, so I told the story. I'm not going to retell it. Just brief summary. I got kicked off of a panel because of my assumed race and gender or sexual orientation.
I saw that video, yeah.
Okay, you did see that one.
Yeah.
Well, I told you about that because that was the one they took. So this is a guy they at the same time they told me I wasn't allowed on it. They asked me to ask him, who never saw the show.
I had no expertise on the topic whatsoever.
To take the place that they offered me. Okay. No, I'm not going to your con ever again.
Yeah, which I can't blame you on that.
No. Oh, okay. Now back to the comic. Let's just. Yeah. So you're working. You're working on the print, which is a lot of work because you're re-editing everything.
Yep. Or drawing it from scratch.
Really?
Yep. Yeah. Actually, everything in here was never featured online. This is all like from beginning till end. Brand new.
Is it colored as well?
Nope. Inside is black and white.
Okay.
The cover itself, because I'm no good with color. Yeah. So this was colored by Alex Heberling. Anyone in indie comics will definitely know that name because she did it still does The Hues, which is a huge comic in like indie circles, and it's reaching far beyond that. She actually just finished a very successful Kickstarter. And then issue 2, which is the one I mentioned I plan on having done by the end of the year. I have Karmada Arts coloring it, and she's amazing as well.
She is.
Oh, you've seen her work?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And we're supposed to be doing a zine panel together at Confusion in January of 2020. So very excited about that because that's something that. There's a small handful of zine conventions around, but it's not something that's like really hit prominence, which I definitely want to see that change because anyone can make a zine. It used to be the voice for the underground. Now it's it's a voice for everyone. Especially nowadays with computers, like anyone can be like, oh hey, I want my book to look like this. You can throw it together on your computer, run down to Kinko's with your zip drive, print it off, and you're good to go.
Wow. But could you sell? So Are you selling this anywhere else other than just yourself? Do you have any?
The comic itself?
Yeah.
Well, actually, I have it in a handful of shops. I've got it in Mike's Comics out in New Baltimore, Michigan. I've got some at Quimby's in Chicago. Chicago Comics, also in Chicago. Desert Island Comics in Brooklyn. Let's see, and Orbital Comics in London, England. That was the most recent one. So,
wow.
Yep, I've crossed the ocean. Oh, and Cape and Cowell Comics in Oakland, California as well. Can't forget about that.
Have you gone to any of the local? Well, I mean, you have something semi-local, but
Right.
Have you gone to a lot of locals? Like, hey, will you carry my comic?
Well, it's funny because these are just shops that I've run across like along the way
You ran
online.
across a shop in England that decided to run your comic. You. Okay, that's a story.
I was
You were just skipping across the pond.
well, no, I've never been overseas. I've always wanted to go, but I've never been over there. But
Then how did you run into them?
What was so
were you flying?
what was
Were you the Flash?
you brought it full circle. That was awesome. But no, with social media, I mean, you just get to talking to people, and I got to talking to people along the way, and. Sure enough, like, hey, do you do indie comics in your store? And they're like, yeah, we'll send you the info. Like, all right, cool.
Okay. Now, why aren't you more local?
Well, that's something I've been wanting to get towards. It's just these things happened as I was, sitting at the computer at home working on my comics. So.
Stop by Asylum Comics at some point on Van Buren and Van Buren, not Van Buren, Van Born.
Oh, Van Born. Okay.
Van Born and Dearborn.
Okay.
Just stop there.
Okay.
Tell them I sent you.
Okay.
They'll be fine. You go to enough trade shows where you know everyone that works there anyway.
I'm writing that down.
Yeah, because you've been to some John Carlisle's trade shows, right?
I think so.
Yeah, he runs it, and so does Ben. That always has a bunch of wrestling stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Is Great Lakes one of his?
No, no, they don't run it.
Okay.
They're vendors there, though.
Okay.
They're vendors there. Yeah, not the other Ben comics bookstore, but this Ben wrestling guy. He always has a wrestling booths.
Okay.
At a lot of trade shows. And I know they got another guy that sells a lot of pop vinyls. Because he just sold me a Dawson's Creek pop vinyl that my mom loves. That's another story, though.
Right. Good show though. That opening theme, it can't be beat.
Well, yeah. We could talk about Dawson's Creek later.
Yeah.
I still think Dawson's Creek was one of the great comedies of its time. That's how I started watching. I was on leave, laying in bed, and it was on for like 4 hours in the morning, and I just couldn't stop laughing. So I bought a bunch of the box sets that were out at the time, not all of them, but the ones that were currently out, and I watched it overseas while deployed, and I just couldn't stop laughing.
I'm sure
Like someone reading your webcomic, yeah.
Well, I'm sure you remember the show you did a few years ago at PenguinCon where you interviewed Mark Ashiro.
Yeah.
And I said that's how I saw two or three Twilight movies. Like I was in bed, I was sick, so cough medicine, cough medicine up, and it's just like, wow, the first movie's hilarious, the second movie is kind of enthralling, and the third movie's kind of awesome. And it wasn't just the cough medicine, because I've seen them since then.
Because I would have bet it was the cough medicine. So you're also working on a new webcomic.
Yes, dropping January 1st of 2020.
Is it also a slice of pizza? I mean life.
It's going to be a direct sequel to It's Just Another Day, and it's pretty much going to pick up where the comic ended online.
Then why is it a sequel if it's the same? If it's the same storyline,
it's going to be different though because the main character Jake takes back seat to his friend Seeker.
You killed him off. Spoilers. Joke. Now I'm purposely making this hard. Go ahead. You're going to get through this.
Yes. But no, he's going to take the back seat to his friend Seeker, who now the story is going to follow him and his band, because through the course of It's Just Another Day, he's all hardcore about wanting to be, Mr. Rock and Roll, wanting to get out there, enjoy everything the music scene has to offer. And of course, with that comes umpteen different misadventures and stuff like that.
So what's Seeker's band name?
Reflection. Yeah, that's what the title of the comic is going to be called, The Year of Reflection.
Okay, so did you do research? Is there already a band called Reflection? Is it copyrighted? Oh, see, you gotta
crap.
do your research. If you need to do, like, you know, I would say Dingoes Ate Your Baby, but that was already taken too.
Yeah, I'll have to look at that, because when you think about it, Reflection seems like it might already be.
Oh no, I ruined it. I didn't mean to be a big mini bubble popper today. I swear. That was not my goal in life today.
Well, we'll look into it, because the band that's going to be hopefully providing the music is going to be my dear friend Brandon's band, The Clap. They
Great, now I got the Wiggles song stuck in my head.
They I followed them for a year while they were going on tour and stuff like that, and the band went on a bit of a hiatus because the drummer went to college and everything.
Please tell me they sing the Wiggles song.
They do not.
We got the clap and we're giving it to you. It's a family-friendly song. Trust me, but you will laugh.
I'm sure that joke was made during the course of the journey, but no, they've never performed it. But yeah,
should.
like each chapter I want to be marked by one of the Clap songs, and
they're all going to be sorrow.
So it's gonna be yes, another slice of life story, but especially since like all the characters are like 18 at this point too. You know, there's gonna be
and Jake's a roadie because he's in the back seat.
Exactly.
Is he really a roadie?
Yep.
Oh man, what did I guess? You make it too easy for me, man.
Yeah, so he does some roadieing and a bit of management and stuff like that.
I have
and
a lot of psych gags you can use. We'll talk later. I'll give you a bunch of psych gags.
All right, sounds good.
Such as them trying to move all the stuff, and then another roadie comes up and just puts the stuff on the road cases with wheels, and like, what's your problem?
that is good.
Just stuff in the background, just psych gags.
But yeah, so that's dropping like I said, January 1st of 2020, and it's cool because coincidentally it turned out being a Wednesday, so and it's gonna update every Wednesday like it's just another day did.
Which Wednesday is comic book day.
Exactly. So
for those that aren't totally comic book geeks like us. So this started as a webcomic.
Yep.
You're doing print.
Yep.
You have a sequel webcomic.
Yep.
Is that getting its own website?
That's something I've got in the works as well.
Okay.
So with
like what are you gonna do at the end of the slice of life webcomic? You're gonna be like, to be continued. Go to this website.
Well, and it's funny because since I started doing the imprint, it's just another day issues. I've fully launched.
That's what I meant. Just another day, not slice of life.
Oh, you're good.
That's the genre.
Yes.
This makes me hungry for pizza.
It does. That sounds good. I've fully launched my company BCH Comix.
Okay.
So that's what I've been doing most of the stuff under. Like my Facebook page is at BCH Comix. And so that's what I plan on doing the website under. So like you'll have like one website where you can go to to see everything.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So then that way I don't have people having to go like to a bunch of different places and stuff like that.
Yeah. So now that you have printed, are you working on your signature? Because I'm like, are you just signing at BluRaven? Are you drawing a rave? I'm sorry. It's late. I've been up since 4 a.m.
Oh, jeez.
I'm a little slap happy. I'm out of rum. It's.
Well, yeah, no. I just signed my name, BluRaven C Houvener, and then I put the year.
Okay. That's cool because a lot of people don't put the year.
Yeah, that's something I picked up from my dad, because my dad was also a surrealist painter.
Okay.
He painted under the name Chongo, and he always put like the last 2 digits of the year. So that way he always had like some marker of when he created the piece, and I kind of picked that up.
So
from
every
him.
100 years it's relevant again.
Right.
But no, I really like that. That's a good idea. That's really cool.
Yeah, I like having that marker, especially nowadays. You have like so many art memes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what did you do this year? And I can go like, oh, okay, cool. Well, these are all marked with this. Sweet,
Okay, so now I'm going to put you on a spot for a couple questions.
Oh, okay.
Because you're talking on a bunch of panels.
Yes.
So what's a question that sticks out in your mind?
That I've been asked at a panel?
Well, you know what? It didn't have to be addressed to you.
Okay.
If that makes it easier. Because they're like, man, if it was just as this person got an awesome question, Just something like, wow, that was a really good question. And the person wasn't just trying to promote himself.
Oh.
You see, that makes it harder because
that does.
Because so many panel, you're talking at a panel. I'm wasting time so you can think. You're talking at a panel, or even happens when I was watching Jason Bob and the Road Show not long ago when they're doing live. Every question begins, well, I'm an author. You could buy my book at yada, yada, yada. And I wonder, how did you start? Well, then what? It has nothing to do with you being a creator. Stop.
Right.
That's fine. You want to self-promote, but don't act like that's an important part of your question. It isn't. So yeah, the second part, I just had a family. How would you incorporate kids in your comic? Because I'm doing it on my website at this. Well, that's really cool. And we could talk later because I might actually be interested in whatever they're talking about. However, you're wasting other people's time. Unless they're the only person in the room. Then promote.
I think... I was doing a getting started in a comics panel at I believe it was PenguinCon, and I was talking about like all the avenues involved in the comic and art process and stuff like that, and I did mention like drawing challenges and stuff like that because that can add a lot of fuel to the fire as far as making your comic. And someone asked me what my thoughts were on Inktober. And to anyone who doesn't know, Inktober is, for the entire month of October, you're given prompts. You can go off the prompts, or they have there's special prompts too. I mean, or you can just draw, as long as you're drawing in ink. And this is, I guess, online controversial because people would ask, because you have a lot of digital artists who draw, and they'll be drawing for Inktober, and they'll be like, oh, ink is ink, and it's like, I mean, I'm a traditionalist myself, which is what my answer was, so I draw everything, traditionally, and
but you're not going to judge someone else,
right? Exactly, and then that's my stance on it is, while yes, you're still putting in the effort. You're still drawing for Inktober, of course. Never fault you for that. The only thing where I think there might be a slight disconnect is, you accidentally spill your ink, your pen breaks, something like that. The drawing's ruined. You're screwed if you're doing it traditionally. If you're doing it digitally, you can just, undo. But even still, I would, that's such a small disconnect.
But people actually get angry over this kind of stuff.
Exactly, and that was the thing. I was waiting for the flurry of booze. I'm like, all right, that's my answer. But fortunately, everyone was cool and understanding.
Yeah, I read an article that people were upset because some person showed something somewhere. I don't know. Did a kids version of the ABCs, but they went slowly during LMNOP, pronouncing each one, and they changed the melody a little bit by going slower.
Okay, and
people were upset. How dare you change? Everyone knows LMNOP, everyone knows it's that. We learned it for years. What it's like. So they're saying it slower so people can learn the words and or learn the letters and not the song?
Yeah, because if you lump them together, I mean, there's not a word elemento.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or maybe there would if we'd have to consult a dictionary, but I don't think so.
And people are so mad, like, well, then your kid is stupid. If it's like, wait, no one's saying...
Yeah.
So upset over something. It's a learning tool. Let them use a learning tool to teach people to, I don't know... learn the thing the tool is meant for.
Right. It's the day and age we live in, and you throw internet on top of it and stuff like that.
I would not be upset if someone made a new alphabet song with a different order.
Oh.
I would not. Now, first, to do this, I need to learn the alphabet, and then I could. Can you imagine that if there was competing alphabet songs, and there's a whole generation that grew up with competing alphabet
jeez.
songs, and the cop asks you to recite the alphabet backwards? First off, I can't do that sober.
Yeah, thank you. I'm thankful I don't drive for that exact reason, because I'm like, well, what if I ever got pulled over? I'd be like, okay, I can do it, but it's going to be really slow.
Oh, I can't even do it. My mind doesn't think like that. Well, it can. I'm just, but no, I've talked to plain police officers like, oh yeah, a lot of people can't do it.
Yeah.
It's more or less just another way for us to observe your thinking process.
Right.
At least that's what I'm told. I could be completely wrong. I swear I'm sober, officer. Turn around. Every now and again I get.
Oh, that would be awesome.
So, okay. So this comic is not for sale on Amazon yet.
Not yet, no. Unfortunately, Comic Central just recently closed down.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so, and that was where I was selling the digital version of it. So I'm going to be looking into new avenues for that, which Amazon would probably be a good one. Just
and I
because.
know a lot of people. Yeah, I'm going to my spiel. I know a lot of people don't like Amazon for for things that they're in the news for,
Right.
the CEO or things like that. But if you have to shop Amazon, or if you shop Amazon anyway, go use smile.amazon. And I apologize for all the people that get mad at me. Like, well, I have a code so they could use it so I could make money. Well, I don't care. I had an affiliation code too. I had an affiliation link to Amazon as well. But instead, I tell people to use smile.amazon at no cost to you. You could designate a charity of your choice to get a little bit of money. Yeah, so it's like an affiliation code, except for that money is going to a charity of your choice.
That's awesome.
And because I'm syndicated on DV Radio, our charity of choice is DV Farm. It's a great organization. They're a housing for homeless veterans.
Okay.
It's only one house with several beds, but it is totally
It's something to start off. Yeah.
Yeah, and they do some amazing work there. They do dvfarm.org. Check it out. And again, you don't have to use that one. There's so many, pretty much every real charity you've heard of, you could pretty much choose on smile.amazon.
And with all the stuff you hear about Amazon, like the negative stuff you hear about Amazon and stuff like that, that's a perfect way to kind of equalize
makes
things.
you a little less guilty,
Right?
And I did get yelled at for saying that on in a convention group that doesn't like me anymore.
Oh, jeez.
Because it got more likes than the original poster and the board members that were defending it. Basically, someone wrote a post just hating on Amazon, and several people just like, are you sure this should be on a group promoting a convention? And they just were insulting people, cussing at people. And I wrote down, well, if you're going to use it, you know, I love this big fish window.
Yep.
This is how
Bunch of nice people outside.
yeah, and now they expect us to answer questions when we can't hear them. I had one person literally bang on the window and ask, "Who are you?" I'm like, "Could you even hear me?"
Right.
I'm in the middle of broadcasting or recording. All right, final questions.
Yes.
What's a good final question? So you had to talk about your comics a lot in your panels. What's something you wish people asked you about?
Like, since the comic's still taking off, I've never been asked any like super deep or philosophical questions about it. Like, one of the big things that's just another day is about is just, you know, people in their lives. And by that I mean, you know, everyone's going through something. And most, you know, like, and most of us don't think about that, you know, just like, wow, that person's just a jerk, or, wow, that person's kind of dumb, or that person's kind of aloof. You know, we just make those snap judgments, and it's just, you know, as the issues go on, that's one thing that's going to become just more apparent, is everyone's going through something.
Just like real life.
Exactly.
I mean, you know, how often does someone like, man, I hate that person.
Yep.
That person didn't smile at me and greeted me to
Yep.
Walmart or not. Like that person could be having a bad day.
Yep, absolutely.
You don't know. And it's not just important to recognize if someone else might be having a bad day. It's important to recognize if you're having a bad day. Because there's plenty of times where I go, wow, I'm kind of cranky. Where did that come from?
That's huge. That shows a lot of character on your part that you can realize that. Because a lot of people just don't. It's just, call it like a eat a Snickers moment. We're just like, hey.
That's why I need more rum. Well, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
We have some time, so afterwards we could grab another drink or something because I need more rum. Go ahead and shout your website and everything people need to know.
Okay. Let's see. So I mentioned earlier, my Facebook is at BCH Comix. And also, if you're interested in Nicodemus, St. Nick of Detroit, you can hit, I still run that fan page, so you can hit that up at St. Nick Detroit. My Twitter.
Is the music on there?
I'm working on that as well, but so far it's just posts and pictures and all that kind of stuff. And my Twitter and Instagram are both at Jake_says SAYZ. And then my YouTube, BluRaven Houvener. So yeah, just follow my social mediums, and there'll be more information coming out about when comics are coming out, when the website officially launches, and so on. And plus, I hope I've shown I'm a fun guy on here. So,
if you're in the area, check them on the panels. If you do wish to go to these conventions, very open. Usually your panels are very educational.
Thank you.
Or it's an excuse for me to make fun of you from the seats, which is fine because you've done the same thing for me, which I always appreciate. It's the funnest thing to do.
It is.
That's why my nephew stopped showing up to my panels. Like, of course I'm this way. Ask my nephew who's running out of the back door. I'm going to have to do it to him next time he's in that seat. Everyone, thank you for watching. Of course, you can find Media Layer Sandwich at MediaLayerSandwich.com, Toaden.com, the Facebook, YouTube, Toaden K is the YouTube. Hopefully, I'm at more places now, or at least the video. I'm going to work on putting the video out at a couple other places. I'm on hiatus, so I can't see the future. I'm thinking I might have a Patreon by then. I don't know. I hear so many different things about Patreon. I'm still on the fence of it.
Yeah, I think nowadays nobody truly just makes a Patreon. It's always, there's always so many.
I feel like it's vice versa. I feel like people just make a Patreon and it's just part of their spiel, and I don't want to do that.
Right.
I started from the very beginning of this podcast. I have director's cuts for every single thing.
Oh wow.
Because if I ever want to do a Patreon thing or a DVD thing or a Blu-ray thing, I would have bonus material, or I would have something extra to offer because I wanted to have that. I feel like if you're paying me for something, even if it's to help me, I should have some sort of reward,
right?
Because that's really
Blooper
what's
reel
about.
will be a riot.
But at the same time, I don't have a lot of time to edit, so I just go ahead, or to do things. So I just go ahead and already make an audio version, a video version, and the director cut version. So if I do, Patreon, I could do, lower level gets all the audio director's cuts. For higher, you'll get, maybe video director's cuts. And then on top of that, I see a lot of people offering Patreon stream services only, like Hangouts, or even the Hangouts aren't around anymore either. But video, if I got enough money to do something like that, I would go ahead and buy a subscription to Zoom, which I have a personal one, but I could get an actual paying subscription where I could have like 300 people in there.
Oh wow.
So that could be cool. That's something I could do.
Oh, that'd be awesome. That would be like a hardcore convention panel, but like contained.
Yeah, I mean,
wow.
I could do something like that where people could, do that kind of thing, whatever. I see a lot of people do movie nights, which me knowing copyright laws, I would have to do more research to do that.
Yeah, I feel like that'll be like a kind
And
of
let's face it, if you do a movie night with me, you might not like me at the end because I talk a lot. My girlfriend hates watching movies with me. She hates watching anything with me. I ruin it so bad.
I do get a lot of glares because I grew up watching a lot of Mystery Science Theater
Me too,
3000, so
exactly.
it just it's like word vomit. It just comes out while I'm watching a movie.
So, yeah, you can find me on
Yes.
Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, Mixcloud, Podknife, Pod whatever, Podomatic. I think that's one. You can find me at a ton of different pod things. If I'm not on there, let me know. See if I could get on there. And you could, I think I'm on iHeartRadio now too.
Okay. Always worth a listen.
iHeartRadio?
No, your show.
And of course, DV Radio. You can look up their schedule, which they have a lot of awesome their talk shows. And even if you just to listen, they also have cool music on there as well. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed our discussion because we did a lot of sidebars.
Yes.
And made the algorithms be in your favor.